Fourth grade, what's going on, ladies? How we doing? Allie, Bella, Melvina, we miss you guys so much. We're doing the best we can here, and my job right now is to bring you your math lesson. All right, everybody's favorite. All right, and actually, I think this math is going to be much easier than the fractions that you did before. This is going to be multiplying and dividing fractions. I know. All right, it should be pretty easy. All right, so if you can turn to page 543 in your math workbook, I'll give you some time to do that right now. That's where we're going to start, and that's going to be 10-1 or 10.1. Okay, and the name that you're working on is fractions as multiples of unit fractions. If you're wondering what I'm looking at, I have my iPad here, so I'm going to be following along just like you are. So really, we're in this together. Okay, we got this, girls. We got it. Okay, so the first part there is usually our solve and share, and we usually do this together. Okay, because I'm going to teach you guys that this is going to be very, very easy. Okay, remember there's two parts of a fraction. Okay, is you have the n, okay, which is the numerator. Okay, that's usually at the top. All right, and we think a down usually starts with a D, which is your denominator. Okay, so every fraction for the most part, I mean, unless you're crazy, all right, has a numerator and a denominator. Okay, and that the denominator is extremely important because that's usually telling you the number of pieces that you have. Okay, and this is like how each person has a certain piece. So you know Mr. McQueen, he doesn't ever miss a meal. He enjoys his pizza. Okay, so if I'm thinking about pizza, okay, say I had a nice pizza here. Granted, you'd have to have takeout nowadays, okay, and I broke it up, okay, into equal pieces. All right, there's 8 slices there, 8 total. Okay, so that would actually equal my denominator. Okay, so my denominator would be about 8. Now, we got James, we got my wife, and we got me. Well, guess what? I like my pizza. Okay, so I ate a slice, and then I ate another slice, and maybe I ate another slice. Okay, 3 slices might be plenty for me. Okay, so if I ate those 3 slices out of the 8, the 3 would be my numerator, just so you remember. This is just a quick little review before we begin our lesson. Okay, so the 3 is how much maybe you ate or how much that you have. Okay, and the 8 is the total. Okay, so remember, I always try and remember pizza. It's an easy way to help me with fractions. Pie, pizza, things that you usually cut into slices. Okay, so before we begin, remember we're on page 543. Okay, is I'm going to erase this. Okay, and 99% of the time, just remember, whenever you have a denominator, whatever that number is, it usually never changes. Okay, it is the constant usually every single time with our fractions. The denominator, that number on the bottom, never changes. Okay, so remember 543. So I'm going to read you exactly what it says here. I'm going to read it right from my iPad. Okay, it says Khalil and Mara were working on their math homework. Okay, Mara wrote 4/5 as 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. Okay, Khalil looked at Mara's work and said, Mara, listen. I think you could use multiplication to rewrite your equation to be a lot easier. Is he right? Well, we're going to find out, okay? So I'm going to put the 2 things on here, okay? So Mara said, okay, here's Mara. All right, she said that if I had 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. Now, this is exactly what we did in our last topic. All right, it was adding fractions. Remember, the denominator doesn't change. Okay, so we can bring that 5 right down there. And then we just add 1, 2, 3, 4. 4/5. Okay, so Mara is correct. Now, Khalil says you could probably use multiplication, Mara. It'd be a lot easier. Well, guess what? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Khalil's right too. Crazy. Okay, well, let's go to Khalil. All right, still trying to bring the humor even though I'm here. Okay, so we have Khalil. Okay, he says if I took 1/5, okay, and how many times does she have it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, Mara said 4. If I multiplied 4. So the whole number 4 times 1/5. That would be the same thing. Well, guess what? Khalil's right, because watch. Do we ever touch the denominator? I hope your answer is going to be no. Okay, because remember the denominator never changes. So I would just put the 5 down here. Okay, and then I would just multiply my numerator times this number. Remember the numerator is the 1, and I'm going to multiply it by 4. So it would kind of look something like that, 4 times 1 over 5. Okay, give you some time to write that down. But as you write that down, you all know that 4 times 1 is going to always be 4. Okay, 4 times 1 equals 4, and our denominator never changes, so that is going to be 5. Now, you have Mara, who decided to add them. She got 4/5. Khalil, he decided to multiply 4, which was the number of times the fraction, or the unit fraction, which is 1/5. Remember, the denominators don't change. Okay, so 4 times 1 is 4 over 5, which is the same exact answer. So both people are correct. Okay, and that's kind of where our lesson's going for today. Okay, so that is on page 543. We're going to skip ahead, okay, and we're going to go to the next page, and I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a follow-up so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about, okay? So on page 544, just give me some time to erase this, all right? On page 544, it's basically talking you through the videos that we normally watch, okay? So on 544, it says Courtney ran 3/4 of the way to school. First off, God bless you, Courtney. Good for you. You're running to school. Okay, you're going to describe 3/4 using fractions. Okay, well, if you look down below, they broke it up into 1/4, then 2/4, then 3/4. Okay, well, 1, 2, 3. All you could do is you could take the 3, if you look at the picture and see, all right, you take 3 and you multiply by that unit fraction. I know you might be confused, but it's going to be pretty easy. So you take the 3 and you multiply it times 1/4. Okay, so what they did was, well, they said, how can you represent 3/4? Well, they took a 3 as a whole and multiply it by, remember the denominator doesn't change, 1/4. Okay, do I touch the denominator? No. Okay, so it looks something like 3 times 1 over 4. Any number times 1 is always going to be that number, 3/4. And that's kind of what we're going to be doing today. Pretty easy, all right? And I know I try not to use that word easy because sometimes it's easy for everybody and maybe not for you, but that's okay. This one's going to be pretty easy, all right? I can guarantee you that. All right, so don't worry about the convince me page. We're going to go on to page 545. Okay, we're on page 545 where it says another example up top. Okay, another example. It says describe 5/4 as a multiple of a unit fraction. Mr. McQueen, we didn't talk about this. No, we didn't. Okay, but again, think of your pie or your pizza that you're eating. If you had 5 slices over 4, that means you ate the whole pie and an extra slice. Okay, so if you look at the picture up there, you see the red bar that we usually use with our benchmark fractions. Well, we don't have those right now, okay, because we're all in our own home. That's okay, but they have the picture there for us, okay, that you have 4/4 would equal a whole. Remember, when the numerator equals the denominator equals a whole. Okay, then you have that additional 1/4. All right, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/4. Okay, well, another way to show that, all right, is I counted literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, that number just doesn't change. Okay, remember we're at the top of page 545, so in case you're not sure where we are. Okay, so I would have 5. Love the number 5, 5 digits on your fingers, okay? And then my base unit fraction was 1/4. Okay, now, Mr. McQueen, I know you've drilled it in my head several times, but the denominator does not change. Okay, it stays the same. All right, so that 4 stays the same. And I know, Mr. McQueen, talking back to third grade, that any number times 1 is that other number. So 5 times 1 equals 5. And that's just another way to write it. Okay? That's why. Very easy. Okay? So, with me saying that, all right, we are going to go down to the guided practice like we normally do with our lessons. All right, my job is to kind of follow just like we would normally be in class. We're working at the small table, the whiteboard table, or up front at the smart board. Just picture yourself there. I'm picturing myself in room 21. Here I am. It's a little bit smaller than room 21, but we're doing our best, okay? So, number 1, it says draw a picture to explain why 3/5 is equal to 3 times 1/5. Well, we're just going to have to draw a picture, okay? So we have 3/5 equals to 3 times 1/5. Okay, well, here is, let's just say I did a unit fraction and this is my whole. Okay, similar to what we did up above. Okay, and then I had to take that and I had to break it down into fifths. Okay, so if I did that, I would say about here, and about here, and about here, and about here. Okay, listen, Miss Papandrea is not gonna, I'm doing the best I can. I'm not an art teacher, all right? Got it? Okay, so this little fraction here equals about 1/5. This fraction here would equal, well, technically it would be 1/5, right? And then this one would also be 1/5 and 1/5 and 1/5, okay? Because remember, 5/5 equals a whole. So how would I draw what 3/5 looks like? Well, I already did too much work. You're going to take your eraser, okay? You have that hole up here, and you're going to erase 2 pieces, okay? This is what the drawing of 3/5 would look like compared to the whole, okay? If you're not sure, that's okay. All right, if you look down below, we're not asking you to draw a whole lot, okay? So first off, that's good for me, okay, because my drawings are not very good, but we're doing the best we can. All right, so that's going to be number 1. All right, I'll give you some time to write that down. All right, because you have 1/5, 2/5, and 3/5. All right, I'll give you some time. Y'all set? Okay. Remember, you can always pause these videos. If you're like, Mr. McQueen, you're going too fast, slow down. I'll slow down. Yeah, okay. Well, you don't need me to slow down. All right, all you got to do is just pause it. You can rewind it and fast forward, whatever part you need, okay? You can always go back to it. All right, that's a plus about this. Okay, so if you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to me. You can have you can either comment in the comments of this video, your parents can email me, but I think that this math is going to be pretty easy. Okay, here we go. I know I've said that word a lot too. Okay, so I'm going to skip number 2 and I'm going to start over on the next side. Okay, so it says if I'm over here, I'm on number 3. It says write each fraction as a multiple of a unit fraction. Remember, because we're going back to the basics, back to the unit fractions, the 1/2, the 1/3, the 1/4, the 1/5, the 1/8, the 1/10, the 1/12. Okay, those are our unit fractions. And then we're just taking a number and multiplying it to it. You got this, girls. I got it. All right, here we go. So if you look here, it says 2/3 is equal to blank times 1/3. Okay. Now I'm confused. Not really. And I think you guys got this. If you look, the 3 of our denominator does not change. So that's why that's over there. All right. And they just put the 1 because that's our unit fraction. 1/3 is a unit fraction. Well, where did they get this 2 from? Well, just like before, you got to remember what Khalil said. You can take any number and multiply it by a unit fraction, and you can get that fraction. So that's the same thing. We're going to take this 2 and we're going to fill it right in there. Okay, because remember that number does not touch the denominator, it only touches the numerator. So you'd have 2 times the 1, all right, would equal 2 over 3. And that's where you would get that from. So that's number 3. Okay, I'll give you some time to fill that in. I'm going to erase it. Okay. Number 4, similar, very similar. You have 5, 6, except for this time they give you the whole number, which is 5 times 1 over blank. Okay, well, I'm going to spin it backwards for you. The denominators never change. Okay, well, they don't change. So if I'm looking here, I have my 5, and I know that this whole number I multiply times my numerator, which would equal 5, because that's 1. And my denominator doesn't change. We got this. I think we're getting it. Okay. Okay, so then make sure you put that 6 down there. Okay. Let me pull my iPad back up here. Okay, now we're going on to number 5. Okay, all right. We have 4 over 2. Improper fraction, that's what that's called. Improper because it kind of looks funny, all right? The bigger numbers on top and smaller numbers on the bottom, it's okay. We can still solve it. Okay, so remember there's 2 parts here. You have the multiplication problem, you have the whole number, and then you have the fraction. Yes, Mr. McQueen. Okay, all right, well, I have a question. Does the denominator ever change? No. So bring that all the way over here. That's going to be a 2. Well, remember, we're working on unit fractions. Whenever we have unit fractions, the numerator over here always is going to be a 1. All right. So I got my unit fraction. Now I just need the number that I'm multiplying by. Let me look back over here. 4 over 2. Well, where does the 4 come into play? Right here, my friends. Right there. Boom. 4 times 1 would equal 4 over 2. Got it. Okay. Give you some time to write that one down. And then we're going to go on to number 6. And then I got a little surprise for you. Yeah, I know. Even though I'm not there, I still have surprises for you. I like to keep you on your toes. All right, for number 6, it's 6 over 5. Okay, there's 2 parts to this again, remember? Okay, you have the whole number and then the unit fraction. All right, and then we have to multiply. So, denominators never change. Bring it over here. I know you're gonna like hear this in your nightmares. I apologize, but the denominator never changes. Okay, you bring it over. This always becomes a 1, so it's 1/5. All right, and then where does the 6 come into play? That's the number you're multiplying by 6. All right, so that is the number 6 for you. Okay, and then my surprise. Okay, just like we would normally do in class, we're going to pick. Okay, odds or evens. Well, my friends, I picked before. All right, drew it out of a hat. It's going to be the odds today. For the homework page that you're going to do tomorrow, you're just going to do the evens. Okay, and you're only going to do the front page. That's it. Don't worry about the problems on the back. Just the front page. At the bottom, you're just going to do just the evens tomorrow. All right, and now, how is Mr. McQueen going to check to see if you guys are doing your work? Well, in the comments section of this video, I'm going to have a couple questions maybe from your homework page. Okay, and maybe I'll put 2 or 3 in there and I'll say, Bella, can you answer this problem? Allie, can you answer this problem? Melvina, can you answer this problem? And if you're able to do it, that means, you know what? You're probably following along right there with me, and it just makes sure that I know that I'm able to still teach you. Okay, if you're struggling, you can say, Mr. McQueen, I don't know what I'm doing. I need some more help. Well, then I can make another video for you guys too. Okay, remember, I'm just doing the best we can to try and bring you your instruction, and I know you guys are working hard at home, and I appreciate it. Okay, so down below in your independent practice, still on page 545, we're going to do just the odds. Okay, so we're going to do number 7. All right, and it looks like this. 3 over 4 equals blank times 1/4. Okay? Lucky you, you already got this written on your paper. I got to write everything down up here using that ink. Okay, so if you look over here, the denominators stay the same. Our unit fraction, the 1 is up top because that's a unit fraction, 1/4. Okay, and let's look back over here. Our numerator is 3. Yep, put it right in there because that's going to be the number you're multiplying by. That's the answer for number 7. You can write that down. Going on to number 9. Number 9. We have 2/5 equals blank times 1/5. Very similar to number 7. They give you the unit fraction, which is 1/5. We have to figure out what we're multiplying by. Well, that's when we just got to check our numerator over here. Look at that, 2. Thanks, Mr. McQueen. That one was pretty easy. I know. All right, so you got that written in there. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so that's the answer for number 9. Moving on. Okay, well, doing my odds. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Okay, so 11 is going to be my next one. Again, they laid it out there for you. Perfect. Okay, we have 8/8. Okay, now, Mr. McQueen, you told me this already when we were talking about the pizza. 8 slices, 8 of them are gone. Obviously, that equals a whole. Well, that's great. I'm glad you remember that. I'm proud of you for that. But we're going to move on. All right, we have to teach you how you could take each slice and multiply it by a whole number. That's what we're doing. Okay, so they gave us this times 1/8. Okay, so our denominators never change. 1's up top. What number are we multiplying by? This should be like this right now for you. Boom, boom, boom. It should be come pretty fluent, okay, and fluid for you because this number is going to be 8 because this number times numerator would give you 8/8 because the denominators never change. If you're a little confused, it's okay, but this should be pretty easy. Going on to 13. Okay, all right, here's one of those wacky fractions again. Numerator is bigger than the denominator. That's okay. All right, we'll learn about that as we go forward, but just set it up like you normally would. Okay, you put your box for your unit number, for your number, and then multiplication, and then your unit fraction. All right, you can write that on paper. Pause it, remember, if I'm going too fast. All right, I'm gonna make sure I give you some work time. Okay, so look here, my denominator never changes, stays the same. Okay, and on a unit fraction over there, the numerator every time so far, it has not been different, is always 1. And I have to figure out 1 times something gives me 6. Okay, you should know that equals 6. Okay, so that is your answer for number 13. If you don't have that on your paper, put it on there now. On to number 15. 8/5. Again, wacky, wacky, wacky. It's okay. We can do it. I'm proud of you. You can do it. I know you can do it. Mrs. Rollins knows you can do it. Anybody knows you can do it. We got this. Okay? Look at our denominator. Never changes. Stays the same. Unit fraction. Well, it's a unit fraction, a benchmark fraction. That's kind of what we've been working on. Unit fraction means benchmark fraction. 1/5. All right, those are our unit fraction benchmark fractions. 1 times what gives me 8? 8. Okay, so that is your answer for number 15, and you only have one more to do. Woo! Remember, these videos aren't going to be longer than 30 minutes, okay? Most work I'm going to give you for math a day is 30 minutes, okay? Because tomorrow you have another 20 to 30 minutes to finish those other problems, okay? So really, hour a day, okay? That's really what we're working on, and I'm proud of you that you're able to stay here and focus along with me, okay? Make sure you take care of your parents too. They're there taking care of you. All right, make sure you turn to them, give them a big hug, say, thanks, Mom and Dad. Last one, number 17. We have 9 over 4. Okay, set it up like we normally have. Okay, I'll give you some time. So it looks something like that. 9 over 4 equals number times a fraction. What do we do now? Well, here we go. We look at our denominator. That 4, you can slide it right over here because the denominator never changes. I wish I had one of those tallies on this video so you can hear how many times I've said that. Okay, so the 4, denominator never changes. There's another one, okay? Our numerator, all right, benchmark unit fraction, is always going to be 1/4. 1 times something gives me 9. Okay? Pretty simplistic, pretty easy once it's laid out there for you. Okay, so tomorrow, all right, what is it going to look like? Well, tomorrow you're going to have a sheet that kind of looks a little something like this on page 547. Okay, if you can kind of see that. Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's a lot of problems, Mr. McQueen. Is it though? Is it? If you're doing just the evens, you should circle these numbers. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. Now, spin it back for you. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. That's 10 problems. 10 problems. Okay, and it should not take you very long. Okay, the one thing I want you to remember, okay, is if you look back up top, all right, you can always scroll back, okay, is unit fraction, benchmark fraction will always be written with a 1 at the numerator and whatever the total is at the bottom, okay? So if you look at the example up top, it's 5/8 equals 5 times 1/8. Just the evens to do, okay? And then on Wednesday, I'll bring you another video, your next math lesson. So don't miss me too much, okay? And feel free, because I'm going to put some questions in the comments. Make sure you answer them, okay? It might be 1 or 2, okay? I might pull it right from your homework sheet, okay? It'll be for tomorrow. So make sure you check that. I miss you guys greatly, all right? I really do. You're like my own kids. You know that, all right? So I hope you guys are enjoying some of this spring weather, but please stay safe out there. All right, I miss you guys, and I look forward to talking to you guys shortly.